Today, I want to share with you some of the mistakes I made as a new writer and what I'm trying to do now to level up my writing. I want to share some of my writing mistakes and how I'm applying the things I have learned so far. And my intention with this is to have a conversation because a lot of time we may not know that we are making these mistakes or may not know how to fix them. Now, I cannot emphasize enough, I'm not an expert. If you need help with your book, I recommend working with an editor, a developmental editor or a line editor or even a book coach. I'm only sharing my experiences here. In this video, I'm going to focus on just 3 mistakes and how I am trying to fix them. But if you want to know the other mistakes that I made as a new writer and the ones that you want to probably avoid, watch this video. Of the many mistakes I have made as a new writer, the first one I want to talk about is filler writing. In this video, I talked about repetitive sentences, writing multiple scenes that basically give the same information, and writing scenes that don't move the story forward. The problem with this is that it slows the pacing of your stories, which will bore your readers. Every word, every sentence we write should be to move the story forward and should serve some purpose either towards the plot or the character. Now that I'm revising my book and working on the rewrites, I'm asking myself 2 questions with every scene. 1, what needs to happen to move the story to the next plot point? And 2nd, does the scene serve that purpose? So if I remove the scene, will it affect the story? In the book I'm working on right now, I have a scene very early on which shows the main character cleaning up and getting ready for bed. You know, the mundane things. But it's important to set up the scene this way to get to the inciting incident that happens shortly after. It's giving information about where she is, her surroundings, the time, and why she is in that space. But then there was this other scene later in the book where the character is having coffee. And then another scene where the character meets the love interest. I asked myself those 2 questions and combined the scene. This way I can move the story faster and achieve the same effect. It's important to know when you need to draw things out and when you need to be succinct. And as a new writer, and even now, after so many years, I feel I still have a long way before I can master this. And that's why it's important to keep learning and writing and working with professionals who can guide you, because that's the only way to grow as a writer. The next mistake is info dumping, a big problem with my first novel. It takes a lot of tact to effectively communicate the backstory, context, and things. But what I did with that novel was create scenes just so that I could dump a lot of information. In the earlier draft of my current novel, The Rajput, I made the same mistake. There was a lot of info dumping, and there were 2 reasons behind it. First, because I was still figuring out how to effectively do this. And second, I had done so much research and I was so excited to talk about it and tell all the cool things I had found out while I was researching the book that I put everything in. But with every rewrite and revision, I have taken things out to the point that now there is about 5% of all that research work I had done, and I'm still working on how much I can take out and still make it make sense. And what I leave in the story should be done the right way. Here's the thing. Readers are very smart, and as writers, we have to trust that they will figure some things out without us having to tell them everything. The way I am trying to do this is leave some breadcrumbs. I'm aiming to create an experience for the readers so that when they do figure things out, they will feel excited. Now, I know all this in theory, but it's hard for me to do this in my writing, and that's why I'm trying to learn more and practice more. And when the book comes out, and if you read it, you can tell me if I was able to create this experience for you or not. The other mistake that I often fall into, even with my current manuscript, is passive sentence construction. And here's where I'm very grateful for apps like ProWriting Aid. I know the grammar rule, but this app makes it so easy to fix these sentences. It highlights the passive sentences and you can just go through them and fix them. There are other apps that do the same, like Grammarly, Hemingway Editor, Autocrit. I have linked all these apps in the description of this video. You can try the free version or the trial period of the full version and see which one you like. But I highly recommend using these kinds of apps because it makes self-editing so much easier, and having a cleaner draft for your editor will only benefit you. Anyways, the problem with passive sentences is that they create distance. And as writer, we want the reader to feel close to the story. Now, there are places where you might consider using passive sentences, but it should be few and far between. There are so many things that I still don't know, and I'm very excited to learn them and apply them in my storytelling and see how much I've grown as a writer. Let me know if you like this kind of writing craft related videos, and I'll make more of these. Happy writing, and I'll see you in the next one.